Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. We are continuing with this little project here, and there is if you haven't seen the first video, please go back and click on that if you're completely confused about where we are at this point. So I got my crystal in here, and if I give him a few good shakes in different directions, you know, we're not like twirling him around the room or anything, but he's pretty in there pretty good. So that makes me pretty happy with what I've got so far being shaped to him and my end product being able to really hold him. Now I need to get him out. That's a different matter. Oh, come on. And you can see from the back here, a lot of what's holding him is this webbing that we've done, is holding on to the top part mostly, this wire. And these two wires, coming around from the back here, are what's holding him in that way. So give him a little twist, put that down, and we're going to go ahead and end these two wires here. And by doing that, I have this wire that came from the bottom. He was in between these two wires to begin with. And I'm going to take these two wires and just hook them around that wire down here at the base. So, and if you do have a crystal like what I have, do be sure that you are careful when you cut things with the crystal in, because if you could potentially, I mean, crystals, depending on their hardness scale, they can be pretty fragile. So you do want to be careful about that and accidentally busting them. Make sure it's in appropriately. Nope, not inappropriately. Come on. And if you're not 100% sure how you shape something, make sure you shape it now. Get happy with it, because once you cut these, obviously it's not coming back. So make sure that you're happy with where you are with this project before you start snipping away. And you want to leave a little bit of extra, so that way you can wrap it around this wire or use your round nose to go around. So there we go. Committed now. All right, and all I'm doing is grabbing hold of one at a time with my round nose and starting to hook it underneath and through. Now, because of the way this crystal is shaped and the way these ended up falling in the crystal, there is this groove here. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for me to just pop this guy in and out of here, but that's a good thing. That means in the end, when we put him together correctly and all, that he has, you know, a little bit of extra protection to keep his little fanny in the cage that we're making for him. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of some of these tails going on here. Too much stuff going on. Plus, I'm a little bit anal. I like having a nice, clean little working space. Everything's got to be neat and orderly. You get out of my way. You get out of my way. And I've pretty much got this in a U shape. Now I'm going to come in from the side and just knock it over so that way it is completely wrapped around where I want it to be wrapped. See, like that. There. And now for the other one. Now, to keep him from spiraling, I'm going to come, because that's what he wants to do, I'm going to come back in and get him a little bit more lined up with his own body here. There we go. Or at least if he's tilting in towards the one in the back, you're not going to get the spiraling effect. And the problem with the spiraling effect with the larger base wire, one, it does look a little bit sloppy when that happens because this is your base wire, not your weaving wire. And two, by it spiraling and looking like it's going to go in this direction, like how we would weave, that gives it, and especially how big it is, that gives it so many opportunities to get caught on something, get caught on somebody's nice clothes, maybe it's a nice sweater, and then start pulling on threads and things like that and starting to ruin clothing. That's not good either for a product. And then, of course, there's just clothes out there that you really can't help too terribly much because, like, always called it slinky material. I used to show horses, and it was this stretchy but tight-fitting undergarment we used to wear. Now they're making pants out of it and shirts out of it and all kinds of different colors. It used to just be black. And it's what we would wear whenever we showed horses. Because if you wore a cotton shirt underneath a blazer in 120 degree weather with the sun blazing out on top of you, and you'd pass out in the show arena. Believe it or not, I actually kind of miss showing sometimes. Till I think about that and I'm like, nah. But those kinds of outfits anyway, even if you just have like a necklace on, just that necklace swinging back and forth, and it can be a solid necklace. I have a couple of shirts like that now. Even when it's just a pendant that's not even wire woven, it will ball up the material just because that's just the way the material is for the average person as opposed to the show person. I don't even know if they do it as a show thing anymore. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Now we can do one of two things. We can either leave this bare if you want. If you're going to end your weaving wire, this guy here, make sure you put him in between before you cut him. But I would like to have more color, and I've decided I'm going to kind of stick more with the green now. This big strip of red is probably all I need. I don't want this to end up looking Christmassy. I'm probably going to fail at this because I didn't even think about it. I got a silver wire, I got green and red, and I'm thinking along the lines of, oh, like berry bushes, green berry bushes, it's spring, with the red berries and everything, and yeah, I didn't even think about Christmas. Oopsie. So, and then on top of that, I ended up picking a silver base wire. I was like, damn it. Oh, well. So I'm going to try to get more color going on, and I'm just going to take this guy and wrap him around all the way around down here until I get to the other base wire that's here, and then I will wrap him in between at least once. I'll try to give it 3 in between there, and then we'll just end that way. So, and away I go. Oh, and do let me know, guys, for these longer videos and these full projects, do you guys want to see me do absolutely everything, even though I'm like fast forwarding through it times 8? It would end up meaning, instead of like the last one I did, or the last project I did for you all, instead of it being 4 episodes long, it's, of course, a lot of work for me. Instead of just being 4 episodes long, it probably might have ended up being 2 episodes if I left out all the weaving and whatnot. The first episode of this, just to kind of give you an idea though, that even though it was sped up and condensed down, just to get this far with this, that was at least 3 hours worth of work. So 3 hours that day, and when, especially in the summertime, in the wintertime, it's not too terrible. The job that I did have there, busy season, is the wintertime. It's retail. So there were a couple of weeks where I ended up missing putting up a video or two because I was just exhausted, and then coming home from work and then spending 3 hours sitting here trying to weave. It's like, you know what, I just want to settle down on the couch and veg out. So wintertime won't be that bad, but the other job that I have this spring is the busy season, and quite often I end up sleeping in the barn, watching over animals that are about to have their babies to make sure that nothing goes wrong. I have a very high success rate for little babies, but that's just because I don't get any sleep. Constantly waking up every 15 minutes. And there's some sneaky ones out there, sneaky little ladies out there who pop them babies out in that 15 minutes. And it's like, you butt. Well, fine, be that way. You keep this little miracle all to yourself. So, yeah, the long and short of that was that if I just start cutting out all those sections where you're actually seeing me weave, because I personally thought that some of the things that I've noticed in other people's channels or videos, at least like when you got some of the other crafting channels like painting and whatnot, I'm trying to think of things like a beginner, and I'll start noticing, even not as a beginner, because I try to structure my channel according to how other people do it, because that's the only way to learn, is to study people who are really good at it and trying to learn from them. Woo! I'm going to have a bad cat at the end of that wire here in a bit. But sometimes to me it feels like when they start cutting things that somehow, some way, somewhere, some crucial step ended up getting left out. And I want to try to make that, I thought maybe that would make my channel different from everybody else's. That you are literally seeing absolutely everything that I am doing, even if it is just sped up. And there is a little button where you could slow everything down that I'm doing. The speed up, fast forward, slow motion button in the bottom left corner of all the channels. You click on the little gear and you'll see the word speed, and then you can change how the speed of the video goes. But am I wrong about that? Would you guys actually like me to skip certain sections like this? Obviously not this particular one, because I'm asking you all a question. But I would like to hear you guys' thoughts and comments on that. I don't want to annoy everybody, but at the same time, I want to be sure that I am showing absolutely everything I'm doing, and that there are no secrets between us on how to do a project here. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. The only trade-off is that maybe I won't be getting as many videos out once a week because of how long it's going to take me to record the project, because I don't make that many, I make a lot of smaller projects sell a little better than these super elaborate ones. I mean, everybody loves these super elaborate ones, but nobody wants to pay the money. All they really want to pay is for your materials and not your time, and sometimes they barely want to pay for your materials. So, I mean, these are kind of projects that don't sell that great, so therefore I don't do too terribly many of them, except for when I go into a competition or plan to be in a competition of some sort. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Because it is April, the flowers are starting. So that means I'm going to be going out into my garden and start drying flowers for resin projects that I've been waiting to do. I myself don't have gauges in my ears, but I do have a lot of friends that have gauges. And I was going to start maybe even doing a few resin classes. And talking to some of the girls that I've met who do have gauges, a lot of them are, they tell me, oh, yeah, this is what I look for in gauges, and I would love flowers. Nobody does flowers in gauges. Like, you know what? I got a garden. I can do all kinds of flowers once my petals are getting ready to be done. I can just take them inside, smash them in a book, and dry them out, and start making some gauges. And if resin projects interest you guys, do let me know. I might go ahead and still just post them anyway, and just kind of do the fundamentals. Not necessarily that all of you want to make gauges or anything along those lines, but at least you can take what you learn from those videos and apply them to other things like pendants and whatnot. Okay, I got something. Yeah, you over cross. There we go. Ah, fixed. So yeah, let me know in the comments section what you guys think about some of that stuff. And I'm always willing to listen. Also, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'll put that in the middle of the thing here. Please share. Help my channel grow if you like. Also, if you have very specific questions, like this project is a specific question, a specific request, please do put in the comments section your request. And if you feel embarrassed to do so, you can also send me a message through YouTube as well. I do try to check those. I don't get too many of them through there, so feel free. And you can also send me pictures if you want to try to illustrate what it is that you're wanting to learn. While I won't do exactly what it is that you sent me, because that's somebody else's work, I will try to create a class along the lines of what it is that you are wanting to learn. Although I don't know if I want to do micro weaving, that's what some people call it. I don't have a steady or regular supply of very teeny tiny wires. Maybe if Radio Shack was still in existence, I could go there and get the super tiny wires to do micro weaving, but yeah, we all know what happened to them. They don't exist. Well, they still exist, but not very prevalently anymore. And I guess I will fast forward through this part, so I will see you guys all soon. All right, so we got that all wrapped up and everything. I'm gonna come back in here and reshape everything just a tiny bit, making sure that everything falls exactly where I want it to. This wire ended up lifting itself instead of falling under here because I got this a little bit too short. But that's all right, because now that it's over this, it's holding not only down from here, but it's also holding onto that guy too. So I'm pretty happy with that little incident. Happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say. And that's a philosophy that you can just apply to any facet of your life. Happy accidents. And I'm going to tuck this wire back here, or in front, however you want to view it as. I'm going to want him to come up in the middle where this guy is the outer wire here. I'm going to have him come up on the other side so that way he can get in there with everybody else to do some sort of shenanigans. I don't know what shenanigans I'm up to yet. The piece hasn't entirely told me all of its secrets at the moment. That little tail out of there. But it will eventually, especially if it wants to get made. Now, let's see, there's one tail, and there's another tail. Get you guys where I can see you. Alright, you can get cut. Okay. Alright, now put you together a little bit. Now I'm going to kind of squeeze this mesh a little bit to pretty much try to fold it around this part here a little bit better, just shaping it. It's not going to fold very much, it's not going to get much tighter because it's already pretty tight on this side. I just wanted to just form a little bit better around. Just a little bit, like so. Now, I want to bring you downwards a little bit. Haha, I win. This is always where things get difficult for me. I can do so much with this. I can do 8 different things with this. I can do 8 different things with this part, and it just gets to the point of, okay, I have to narrow it down somehow. So what am I doing, and where am I going to narrow it down to? It's like, I don't want to narrow it down. Okay. I'm going to, pardon me, I'm going to reshape this part up along the top here, because this is where the necklace part's going to go through. So just make sure that that is nicely shaped the way I want it. Nice and big for the clasp and everything. And apparently my voice is just going to go out on me. Let's go ahead and take care of this tail. And in case any of you who have caught on by now, I am stalling. Because there's like a million things I want to do now. And you can't do them all. I'm thinking about making a large hoop with these guys here. So I'm just going to start kind of shaping them a little bit. Now I'm not shaping them to my hopper exactly, because I don't want them to be that tight. I want the hoop to be a lot larger than that. Because this part here, it is a little bit janky. I will admit it. So, hide it. I want to hide it with these guys. I think, anyway. It's the current train of thought at the moment. And like I said in the first video, these really super elaborate pieces that you might see on Pinterest or Instagram or things like that, a large part of the reason why you never see the back is because the back is this god-awful mess. It looks gorgeous in the front, looks terrible in the back. And I try to avoid that awful bird's nest look, the terrible tangled mess, because people are buying a piece, they are buying a product. And once they start buying a few of those pieces, and it looks beautiful in the front, and all of a sudden it's this god-awful, terrible Call of Cthulhu mess in the back, which, if you don't know what Cthulhu is, it's boiled down to what the average person probably needs to know, is that it's a giant octopus monster. So, lots of things going on. It's way more than that, but I think that if you buy something that looks gorgeous in the front and looks terrible in the back like that, and you didn't realize it, like, oh, that's why they didn't have any pictures of the back, then all of a sudden people stop buying these kinds of things. They have kind of gotten, at this point, a reputation for that kind of stuff. So, see if we can't get a nicer curve going. I'm trying to guide it a little bit more. I was always taught to make nice hoops and loops by grabbing hold of the end and then starting to pull. And I will admit, I am kind of guiding as I pull. Let's see here, as I'm going. It's going pretty good so far. Now I'm starting to see that moving this guy's getting larger here, or he's wanting to fold right there. So I'll come out here and try to change where that pressure's going to. Now that went away. So it's not just okay, so I got it curled around and then just start pulling and everything's going to be fine. You do have to guide and direct as you're doing this to get these nicer little swirls and curls that you might see in other people's work. And so I think that'll do. There we are. You did it. And also having dowel rods, just short little dowel rod sections of a great deal of sizes and widths. A little bit better for what I'm kind of trying to use this guy for. I'm just going in here and kind of micro correcting some of this hoop, because it decided it's going to be straight here once I undid it and went back. And that's because this is work hardening a lot, trying to get it out of my way as I've been weaving. So I'm taking that into account as I go. And you remember where I said that it wanted to fold earlier and then adjusting? Well, there's that fold again, and he's trying to cause mischief for me. So I have sighted him, and I can make my corrections as need be. Okay, I'm getting a hold of something I don't want to be a hold of there. want to shape this guy the same way, but I want him more on the outside as opposed to going on the inside. And see, he's folding on me right here. So I'm going to come in with this guy. Just before that fold and try to change how things function in that area just a little bit. I'm also going to put my finger here on where that little point starting to happen. So that way I can change where the pressure is being applied to as I'm bending this guy. Doesn't help too terribly much, but with my two fingers here, I'm directing the pressure to be more up in here as opposed to just down here where it wants to fold. Yeah, that I like. And I like adding dimensions like that, and you know, ups and downs and what nots and suchets and thingamajigs and wingdings. And you could even completely wrap these guys. This guy I'm not going to wrap because that's going to be a pain. And I've already done something rather painful over here that's exact same similar technique right there. So I'm very happy with the way that is, as is. So I'm going to just go ahead and start shaping. I'm going to put my thumb here and putting down with enough force. I'm putting enough pressure on this and holding this in a way that as I'm shaping it more, none of this changes. All the stuff that I'm already happy with stays the same. And because this guy is really firmly between this crystal and the weave that we got here, I mean, just the pressure I'm putting on this top wire is more than enough, and nothing inside's going to actually change. And I want to go ahead and wrap. Come on, you're up here. And back and away. All right. Maybe I want that to come down just a little bit peaky right there. You can see it's like I'm getting more egg shaped. I don't want that. And I'm thinking about it. All that work I put into trying to keep this a certain size, you know what? I think I want it tighter. I want it to be a tighter curl now. So, and we do that. Now I'm trying to be careful. There we are. Because you don't want to mark up your wire or anything. Even, like I said, even though it's on the back where most people, you know, people are wearing your pieces, nobody's going to see what's going on in the back. Well, it matters. If you're making if you are advertising that you are making these quality projects and products put together, and then you need to really focus on both halves, front half and back half. All right, now that we've done that, I'm thinking I'm going to do a spider weave in between. And I'm going to think about how I want to do that, because it's best that when you're doing like a web weave like this, to have it pretty much in the shape that it's going to be in at the end of the project. This poor little wire's so jacked up here. Now keep in mind that this wire was all nice and kinky like this one is, but I'm taking it between my fingers, like, you know, my thumb, pushing it against my thumb, using my thumb to kind of reshape it, bending it in, giving it a slight curve in several directions. It's taking a lot of that out, but keep in mind that work hardens it. And you can see that the end of this is discolored a little bit. That's where I've torched it between the last video and this video. I put it over a flame to try to soften it back up so that way I had a little bit more workability. So if you are starting to notice that you don't, and this comes with time and doing a lot of weaving, you'll start to be able to feel that your wire is work hardening and you don't have much life left in it. That's when you get out a little candle or something, a little bit of fire, and start heating this guy up. It's just something that you start to feel and you start to notice the more you work with wire. So it's nothing, no signs or signals that I can tell you to look out for. It's just the way it is. It is what it is, and that's all it'll be. I might just leave you alone. Now this guy in the back here, not you two, you out my way a little bit. I'm going to work him just, I'm going to work him just a little bit more, and I'm going to make him the back brace for this piece. He's not going to serve any other function other than being support to keep this crystal where I want him to be kept. And you can see that's looks much nicer than it did a few minutes ago, and it wouldn't be possible because this would have broken on the first time trying to straighten it if I hadn't heated him up. So he's going to come in. I'm going to slide him underneath here and just hook him. I might even slide him under. I might just go over so that way it matches what I did here. And I'm going to just hook him right about there. And I think I'm going to completely wrap him in green wire, and that gets this sucker out of my way. And I am also shaping it to make it look nice in the back. You don't have to give the back as much thought as you may the front of your pieces, but you know, don't just make it look like a tackle box. You down there and fold. And if you're thinking the reason I'm cutting this all off and using this piece for this part because I discolored the end, that comes off. Just go get a polish cloth from Joann's. At least that's where I got mine. And then it all just comes right off. That's not the reason. I want to mush all three of these guys together here. That way they look a little nicer. There, like so. Huzzah. I'll just leave him silver. kind of turning him a little bit. Again, there's a crevice right here, and I'm trying to make sure that he's nice and in there, really hugging and holding that crystal. It just more appealing, and also by doing that, it keeps him from getting caught up in stuff if everything's nice and flat, rather than just having this piece come straight out. Could get caught on several things. Now, I was using this against the wire, not the crystal. Again, crystal is a lot softer and much more prone to shattering than stone. And you can do this with stone. I just have a couple of these crystals hanging around my house that I haven't done anything with, and by God, I need to do something with them. All right. Okay, so this is the guy from the back here. I'm going to take him through, and I'm actually going to put him on the other side. So now I have this green wire that was attached to this wire here, and it still is attached, and it's just a spiral off of this mesh in the back. And rather than cut it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this long piece here, and I am just going to go ahead and start wrapping him as if, you know, he's actually always been wrapped on. Just this one wire. It keeps from having to worry about a tail. Does keep these wires within a certain proximity of each other, even though it's just one spindly little wire there. It's not like it's in a very mobile, crucial area. So I think it ought to be just fine. And I'm going to go ahead and just start wrapping the snot out of this wire. So I will fast forward this part, but I'm going to wrap both the outermost wires. So the wire that I have attached everything to, I brought it around the back, in between the crystal and this piece, brought it up through the front, and it's going to be a part of the clasp part, or at least the part that the necklace is going to go through. I'm going to wrap it and the other outermost wire in green. So I will see you guys very soon. Now we'll just go ahead and move on here. And I'm going to pretty much tie these guys together in the back here. For starters, just with this green wire at the moment. All right, so from here, thinking about making curlicues, because I do love curlicues. And curlicue, nice little tight curlicues, pretty easy to make. You just grab your wire, bring it around to where you want it to be, and then you just kind of work him around until you get them little curlicues. Cute little curlicues. And if you need to adjust to get it, you know, where this guy was wanting to hide behind that one there, you just take your pliers, grab a hold of a earlier part, and go ahead and just start rolling it, so that way you roll it backwards. And then go ahead and my wire's getting really work hardened, so I'm probably going to have to heat it actually, because that curlicue does not want to get any smaller. It's not doing what I want it to do. I have one of two options here, and I'm going to go with trying to play it off like I knew what I was doing the whole time. You all know that I'm a professional, right? So yeah, the curlicue, my wire's getting work hardened. He doesn't want to work the way I want him to. So if I put him along the back here and working the wire into the shape of what's going on back here already, along with this little crystal right here, he ends up hiding fairly well, and it looks fairly nice back there. It's not making it into a big ugly mess, so I can shape it along to the crystal here. Very, very careful. Have him kind of come up with the crystal instead. That don't look too bad. Figure out something to do with him there, and if there's any way to get another base wire to look as though it belongs, because that's the important thing. It has to look like it belongs in order to put a weave on it, because I mean, we can all agree that this part of the crystal where it's not like super clear is not the most interesting part, so we can dress that up with putting this guy along here. And if we put, I guess if we took this guy along the back and had him follow and then have him cave inwards, then we could do a weave in between them to try to make it look a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna have to think on that. Or I want this to be a lot smoother, so it doesn't look too bad. There's a little bit of a kink right there I want to get out. Of course, this part's completely changed to the point that it's unrecognizable from what I started doing. Oh well. Again, that's the decision-making process in action. I'm just working this wire to follow the other very nicely, very closely, with as smooth a motion as I can achieve. A lot smoother than it was before. This is a little bit lifted, a little bit more upwards than I am wanting necessarily. And then lay that there. Yeah, a little better. Fun. Or I could even just tuck him underneath so that way he just shows up a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Actually, that's better, don't you think? I think so. So I think I'm going to just leave him right under there. I just, pretty much I'm just putting pressure and sliding him back underneath. That's all that is. And I can either completely slide it back that way, which is possible. Let's make this just a tiny bit smaller, perhaps. There we go. Now you got a curlicue that just disappeared into nothingness. We don't know where it could have gone from this point of view. And from the back, it's kind of a little bit of a mystery at the moment. And we can keep it that way. We could just end this wire underneath here, pop him out through the back, cut him short, and then hook him the way we've hooked these on this wire, but underneath here. He who hides best. And I'll play with him a little later off camera. I'm just trying to close this guy up a little bit better. He's a little bit wiggly. Too wiggly for my taste. Wiggly means that something can get caught, something can open up, some, you know, just means things can go wrong. And we don't want things to go wrong in our pieces. All right. What did you do? Yeah. So we can leave him. We can do that. Still. And maybe I will go with that. There's something kind of appealing about that that breaks up all this monotonous kind of white. It's starting to look a little bit like a wing. I will agree, this back part isn't exactly gorgeous. It does look better than a lot of the backs of pieces that I've seen though. So that makes me happy. We still may yet do a little bit more with this part here. All the green's ending up on the back. I really need to do something about that. And I see a few spots. Just handling a piece too, this much, you start seeing some gaps showing up, like I'm seeing some gaps showing up here, and which is a good thing, because then you can fix it now as opposed to when you've already mailed it off and somebody goes, hey, your piece isn't exactly holding up that well, and then you gotta get it back and fix it. That looks balanced. I like that. And that comes in back and goes along with everybody else. It's a party. Starting to get a windswept look. But, alright. Well, I'm going to call that for today. We have gotten quite a bit farther. It doesn't seem like it's so much on the front, but in the back we've done a lot of work. We've ended a lot of pieces, or ended a lot of base wires, and are starting to figure out a little bit more about what we want to do and where this piece wants to go. We got a lot of this all firmed up, and we still have lots of wires that we can still play with, make curlicues and suchets. And suchets are very important. I'm gonna flatten this so that way he can kind of lay down. And I still got some green wire left. Huzzah! All right, everybody, please like, subscribe, favorite, comment, share, click the little bell, and if you want notifications from me whenever I post a new video. I do try to at least post every Thursday. Occasionally I get around to putting an extra video up. Let me know what you want to learn in the comments section. I do painting, drawing, jewelry smithing, and suchets. Suchets are important. You must have many suchets in your lives. And doohickeys and whatchamacallits. And wingdings. Wingdings. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm very tired. Watching the horses, waiting for babies. Ugh. So, I hope you all had a wonderful time, a wonderful day, a wonderful evening or night, wherever you are in the world. And thanks for coming and hanging out with me, everybody. Oh, and I do have a little donation PayPal button up at the top of my channel. If you want to donate, please feel free. Not PayPal, but YouTube doesn't exactly pay that much, hardly at all. So anything would be absolutely wonderful of all of you amazing, amazing people out there. And again, I hope you all have a great day. Bye!